with Jazmin. Welcome, Jazmin. Thanks for joining us. So I don't know where to start. You're all doing a lot of different things, but if you want to talk just a little bit about kind of your creative background, your music, kind of what led you to your involvement in the Indigenous First gift shops, any of that kind of stuff. If you want to just introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi everyone, my name is Jazmin Wong. I'm the Indigenous First Arts and Gift Shop Coordinator. I also am a local piano teacher. I teach at AICHO, privately at Hamlin Music in West Duluth, and I work for Noteworthy Kids. At AICHO, AICHO is the American Indian Community Housing Organization, and within AICHO, we have our Indigenous First Arts and Gift Shop Gallery, where 80 different artists are displayed. They're Indigenous and diverse artists are displayed. And I get to work here, but it's also a community housing organization. So I also get the privilege to teach the kids that live here piano. And we just recently got a baby grand piano donated to AICHO, and yes, from Dr. Pamela Bustos and Mr. Nixon. Mr. Nixon was the I think first chair bassist of the DSSO, and Dr. Pamela Bustos was the band director at UWS, and I knew them because I went to UWS. I got my bachelor's of arts in music with a business minor, and there I did steel drum and choir and conducting and piano lessons, and it took a little longer because I didn't know how to read sheet music, but I got through it, and I'm a full-time teacher and full-time art coordinator now.
Awesome. Okay, so I think if you don't mind talking a little bit about, there's a lot of really interesting things that the Indigenous First Gift and Art Shop is doing, even some just new this year, whether it's in response to the pandemic or it just happened that way. But, and I can pull up the website too, which probably, that's something you've been really involved with as well. Do you want me to do that right away?
Oh, sure.
Or,
yeah.
Okay.
I'll just speak about what we're doing, and you can just scroll through the website. That'll be great. At AICHO, so we decided to close with COVID. We decided to close our doors about the third week of March, and that's because of the pandemic and how it affects Native American people drastically. The statistics are even worse for Native American people. And we have a lot of Native American people living at AICHO. So we wanted to keep our elders safe, and we wanted to keep our work staff safe so we can come to work and do what we needed to do properly. But with that being closed, with our arts kind of being closed, Ivy Vine, the other arts coordinator, were like, what do? We need to figure out some solutions, and we need to figure them out quick because we have 80 different artists to represent. So I launched the website, indigenousfirst.org, and on there we have all of our art sections that we would normally display. I'd say there's only about 25% of our work demonstrated on the website. It's just we have so many different artists and so much different art that it's hard to get it all up online. But with the website, and for artists, websites open up a window for conversation. These conversations have led into like bulk buys of, we've been selling Indigenous food boxes, which the Boys Fort Reservation bought 60 of them, which helps our farmers, our agriculturalists, our Indigenous farmers sustain livings and incomes, and it also allows our gift shop to keep going. So what I've noticed online is that these conversations are starting to happen, and even though somebody may not be able to afford our G-clay prints, the G-clay prints are behind me. That's an example of G-clay. It means sprayed paint. We go through a local company called CPL Imaging. People right now may not be able to afford G-clay prints, original works, but they can afford maybe a paper print. And I do not have our paper prints online right now, but I have been selling paper prints by phone or email just because of the conversation starter of our website. And that's on my end of what we have been doing. I knew that had we not launched the website, Indigenous first artists would not be getting represented. And that just didn't seem fair. And I wasn't going to throw in the towel just because we had a pandemic. And we've actually been doing just as good in sales with our doors closed than with open. And we're hoping that it stays that way so we can keep our doors closed for a little longer, just to keep the building safe. And with numbers rising, we just like to keep all of our staff, especially our staff that are elders and our residents, safe during this time period. So if you haven't been in store, we have a couple videos on our Facebook page, which is indigenousfirst.org, and we have AICHO galleries and AICHO. We have like 5 different Facebooks for all of our organizations within our organization. Please check them out, because that's the way we get to share our videos and live chats and our Zoom meetings, which I have a couple scheduled with artists this week, to keep representing those artists that have a lower representation in the arts public to begin with. So yeah, the website's been amazing. And I could talk about some different things that we have added on the website. This pandemic has allowed us to invest in our Indigenous agriculturalists, because people want to spend, at the beginning, people wanted to spend their income on food, and food was a safety net for many families who were going through difficult times, who continue to still go through difficult times because of the recession, the layoffs that have been happening. So to have a safety net AICHO, we started making Indigenous food boxes from our art gallery to support our farmers, and we gave them to our families that live in the AICHO building, which is I think 24 families, and we have some other offsite families that we support as well. And these food boxes, like our Indigenous food box, consist of bow and arrow cornmeal, and they're out of Colorado. Red Lake pancake mix, which is wild rice pancake mix, and it's more nutritional. Sakari healing tea, Spirit Lake wild rice, which is Fond du Lac Reservation wild rice from Bruce and Tawny Savage, and Red Lake jam. And then I created a second food box to support our food producers, because one of them thanked me, and this I thought was pretty rewarding. He thanked me and said that our food sales and our food box sales were the only reason he got to pay his employees during the first couple months of COVID, because his other stores and his networks closed, and he didn't really have a place to sell the rice. But our second food box is the intertribal food box, and that has blue cornmeal from Bow and Arrow. And this is all non-GMO, organic. Then we have the White Earth Reservation wild rice, maple sugar, Red Lake jams, and Ojibwa Flint corn hominy. And this week, I'm actually planning on to sell fresh food boxes from Native Wise Harvest, and they're out of the Fond du Lac Reservation. And before COVID, we were actually doing many events that I hope some of you have gone to, and we had a food market going on, but our farmers did not feel comfortable attending in person to those, and our artists, I don't think, feel comfortable either attending in-person events right now. It's just not an option. So being online is kind of how we've been managing things. And so I'm really excited to be selling these new fresh food boxes. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be launching that. And it'll be a 9-week option, and a 4-week, and a 5-week, and a 1-week, with wild rice and fresh vegetables and smoked lake trout. So that'll be exciting. But I don't want to spend all my time talking about food. I love food. There's nothing better than a good home cooked meal. But I also have our 80 wonderful artists to talk about. And we also have many authors that we have a large book selection that I'd like to get noticed. So this week I am Zooming with Linda Lagarde Grover, and we're going to talk about a couple of her books on Zoom and launch that on social media, on our Facebook, and hopefully that'll bring some more attention to our book sections. Also, I wanted to talk about our canvases, and so we mostly do G-clay prints, and we do that through CPL imaging. So when we have an art show, or in our other room to the left, we have our original artwork. When the artists come in and they bring their originals, we ask them to scan it, and then we scan it for, if we're selling the G-clay prints, we scan it for no charge. And then after we scan it, we can put their original artwork on G-clay canvas prints, paper prints, our bags, our wallets, really anything, books, in calendars, and literally everything. And speaking to some of our more diverse, you know, artists that use a lot of different mediums, we can still get good scans of these images and re-put them on different, repurpose them. And this is open windows for artists to do books and all these other sorts of different forms of artwork that they can still make some sort of income off of without selling the original, or making more income selling the original and then redoing our G-clay prints. And then the artists make 80% of the profit. So after the cost of making them, then the artist gets 80% of the profit because we're a nonprofit. And our main goal is to support our Indigenous and diverse artists, authors, and agriculturalists. And that's through CPL Imaging. And they're a local company in, oh, I don't know if I'd say West Duluth, but that direction. Let's see.
All right. Well, thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, is there anything else that you've given us? Everyone can see the screen now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I realized I was scrolling away through your website and then I wasn't sure.
This is the original section. So these are just pictures that I took with my phone, but our larger originals, I asked Ivy Vigneault if she could come in, and she's our photographer. She's an amazing photographer, cultural photographer, just very well known in the community. And I asked her if she could come in sometime and take pictures with her camera of some of our larger originals. And if you scroll down, I put a section in these two different sections because these are like 2 feet big, 3 feet big, some of them. And I can't estimate a shipping price or a safe shipping price. So then I just put, so artists could do this too. If you're afraid of building a website and worried about shipping, you could just say, contact me, the artist, for information about shipping or pickup, and I'm more than flexible to work with that. And that's been kind of helpful. And like, just to wrap it up, the website has really open windows to making new connections and meeting new people.